This is seriously blowing my mind. There was an iPhone OS even earlier, before the first iPhone OS 1.0 as we know it today. This is what it looks like, this is how it was, but this is what the future of iPhone could have looked like had the design team went in this direction. So imagine a click wheel iPod like interface on your iPhone, where you basically use the same ring from the earlier iPods, and that's how you navigate all of your things. So an early prototype concept of the OS did leak for the original iPhone that looked just like this, and I just want to say it's not very practical, that's for sure. It's really not that great, but it would have worked. So this is what it looked like over here. Basically a rough interface for the slider or the click wheel down here, and a bluish like OS computer interface, whatever they had back in the day, like this. There is a video that exists of it running, and it just blows my mind because I think I know everything there is to know about the early days, and then I learned something new. This actually did leak via Sonny Dixon a little bit ago. He showed a video. It's been out for a while, but first time there's actually been a video of it, and it's just amazing, guys. Go check it out. So let's go ahead and talk about some crazy and cool iPhone news that's been going on this week as part of our little weekly series. Oh, and I just wanted to share for those of you that are wondering about this, yes, this is a fully working iPod Classic emulator for your iPhone that actually does play all of your music, and just want to say it's actually really cool. Can you get it? No, probably not. Basically how you do it is basically through a jailbreak. You do have to run the Classic emulator. Now I don't know if you guys know this, but Apple actually has a job at their headquarters for someone to go ahead and destroy prototype software and hardware, according to Sonny Dixon, and it's quite a miracle that evidence of this even exists. So do check the video out down below. It was called Apple OS Acorn, something like that. Of course it didn't make it, but it really does make you think. A future where we're swiping this way or that way in order to navigate our phones, even our computers, according to that sketch. But yeah, now I'm starting to hear more and more of these instances where the iPhone is out to get you. It's trying to kill you by exploding in your pocket, in your hand at night, so be careful, guys. But for real, I'm just wondering, is it really because of the whole Galaxy Note 7 thing? People are trying to suck Apple into the same category, you know, bring them down because of that, but there have been more and more articles about this, and I'm actually genuinely curious what's going on here, if there's an issue. But just the other day, someone was actually using their phone, I think it's a cell phone repair shop, and the 7 Plus just spontaneously combusted. Now, I personally think it was because of a shoddy repair. I mean, these guys are obviously dealing with phones on a daily basis, who knows? But the case is it did explode right there, and it could have been their fault. I don't know. I really don't know. And in another case, a retail worker actually was just walking, and the phone exploded in her pocket. Before she knew it, she looked down and there was like smoke coming out. So it's in the news a lot, and the actual failure rate on a lithium polymer battery is less than 1 in 10 million units. So in a sense, it's somewhat normal for some to fail. I mean, there are millions and millions, hundreds of millions of iPhones and phones in general out there. So to hear one of these stories once in a while is nothing terrible. The media, of course, is going to hype it like crazy. But, you know, it's just scary to see happen more and more often. And hopefully Apple's looking into it, but I don't think any of us have anything to worry about. In the case of the Galaxy, it was like every day you would hear it happen, so there was definitely an issue there. And in another case, an Australian biker actually fell on his bike, and literally, like 1 in a million chance, he fell perfectly on the phone to where it bent or broke or something inside, punctured the battery, and it just combusted, and he actually did need a skin graft, which was pretty bad. iPhone's exploding. I don't think you guys have anything to worry about, but I've been seeing that in the headlines a lot. Now, every so often, we do hear stories about people's lives being saved by inanimate objects against a gunshot. My grandpa used to tell me stories about the Bible in the pockets that would stop a bullet during war. I don't really know about that, but modern time version is a cell phone in the pocket. It does actually happen, believe it or not. And as we all know, yesterday there was a shooting at the Florida airport. I just want to say my heart goes out to everyone affected and victims in that crime. It's a terrible thing to live through, really. There was a MacBook Pro that actually saved someone's life, or potentially could have. So there are pictures here showing a bullet entering through a backpack into a MacBook Pro. This is probably a 2014-15 model, and it actually deflected and ended up in the backpack. So definitely don't use your MacBook as protection against bullets, but it actually did potentially save this guy's life. So I think that's pretty incredible. I would be surprised if Apple didn't reach out to him and get him a brand new one. That's how good of a company Apple can be in times like this. And in more MacBook news at CES, there was actually a new announcement that made me quite happy to see. but at the same time, it's also a little bit of a disappointment. So Intel did go ahead and announce their new Kaby Lake processors. This is the next generation after Skylake, and really I think Apple should have waited for this announcement before releasing the new MacBook Pros, but that's a waiting game that goes on forever, so whatever. At least they released the Skylake ones. But my point is, they did announce new processors with a 20% increase in gaming, which isn't that much, but I'll take anything at this point, and 65% improvement in playback of 4K and 360 video with virtual reality improvements. So all around, a well-rounded upgrade to the processor. We're definitely going to be seeing it in the MacBook Pro spec bump. Maybe during springtime, Apple's rumored to have an event for the iMacs, and they might just bump the MacBook Pros during that event. So I think it's nice that that's there. I just hate having to wait for it, because I think right now the performance of it isn't that great. So also at CES, Dell came up on stage and they decided, let's kick Apple's ass completely and show them what the new MacBook Pro should have been. They announced the Dell XPS 15, which is almost embarrassing for the MacBook Pro how behind it is already. It's featuring the new Kaby Lake processor, even though it was literally just announced right now. They partnered with Intel. That's something Apple used to be known for getting exclusive Intel processors before anyone else. Now they come a year late. Now it does have 32 gigabytes of DDR4 RAM, which Apple said would make the MacBook Pro battery life worse, which it already is pretty bad, but it has 32 gigabytes of DDR4 RAM. That's amazing. Partnered with that processor, as well as an NVIDIA GTX 1050 graphics card. That is amazing for a laptop, so that package will be incredibly powerful. It also has the option of a 4K touchscreen display. That computer is literally miles ahead of the MacBook Pro right now. Now the design, I gotta say, I gotta give it to the MacBook Pro. I like it more, but it does have incredibly thin bezels, which I love about the XPS series laptops. Now another big bonus point is that it has full-size HDMI, USB-A and USB-C ports, as well as an SD card slot, which I love. I hate having to use this little piece of crap every time. It literally ejects itself for no reason all the time. I gotta give them props. It's a solution. It's not a pretty one, but take a look at this. This is OWC's solution to the lack of ports on the new MacBook Pro. So this is only for the 13-inch, but it literally doubles the thickness of your MacBook Pro, and it looks like a tumor on it. But hey, it adds a ton of new ports, including USB-A ports, an SD card slot, and I don't know, I think it defeats the purpose of even getting a MacBook Pro. You just get the adapter for the USB-C without having to live with this cancer on your freaking computer, but I don't know, it's a solution somewhat. And it can add up to 4 terabytes of storage for less than the price of the 2 terabyte upgrade from Apple. And the last thing from CES that I wanted to mention is how stupid this is. I mean, maybe I'm just a hater, but honestly, this hairbrush that's smartphone connected is ridiculously dumb. Like, at what point does someone need to spend 20 times more on a hairbrush in order for it to tell you when you're damaging your hair? I mean, I'm pretty sure you'll know when you're freaking yanking on your hair and it's coming out and you're hurting that you're damaging your hair, but this has some sort of sophisticated sensors in it that'll tell you when you're brushing too violently. I don't know, tell me, am I just an old timer that doesn't like progress, or is this something legitimately that we do not need? A smartphone connected hairbrush. And this one is actually incredibly interesting. So a glitch in iCloud gave a woman contact info to over 500 celebrities. Off of the list, I only recognized Adele, but I'm sure you guys will know some of them. I really am not celebrity informed. So reportedly this lady had an iPhone 4S that she had back from 2014. All of a sudden she's putting in, you know, when you type in just the first letter of someone's name in your contacts on messages when you want to send a new one, and she gets a huge list of all these celebrity names for no reason. And the Daily Mail actually confirmed that these were legitimate numbers, direct lines to these celebrities, which is amazing. She had no idea how it happened, some sort of iCloud syncing glitch. Apple even came out and said, you weren't hacked, we don't know how this really happened. It's possible that the phone wasn't new and it wasn't properly wiped to begin with, but it's just amazing. Imagine having the number to a ton of celebrities, and what would you do with it? I honestly don't even know what I would do. Would I erase them like she did? She literally one by one started deleting them because restoring her phone wouldn't work. I don't know. Now you guys know me. I love Samsung. I'm an Apple channel, but I think Samsung innovates more than Apple. Apple doesn't like to take risks like Samsung does. And the Galaxy S8 is coming out very soon. I'm super excited for it, and we may have got our first look at it. So take a look at this image. But it's fake, and I'll tell you why, because this actually came from Benjamin Gaskin. He has been making a lot of these altered versions of the S7 to look like an S8 with a larger display, but it's been reposted and shared everywhere. It's absolutely not real, and the real design has not leaked. It's actually amazing how much of a hold Samsung has on all of its leaks, component leaks, versus Apple. Apple's leak out like crazy all the time, versus Samsung, they keep a good control on that. And great news for Android phones, SanDisk has just released a 256 gigabyte micro SD card that will actually make your phone faster. So the way it works is it will actually make applications individually load faster using their new technology. I can't wait to try it out. And this actually caught my eye, and I will be visiting just because of this. I don't know if any of you guys have been to 1 Cupertino Lane, the headquarters of Apple, but they have this awesome store there where you can buy unique Apple merchandise. And I'm most excited about the t-shirts. The designs are just incredible. Why doesn't Apple have an online store for this? I would seriously buy all of them. So I'm planning to visit, literally buy it out completely. Well, one of each for me to wear in my videos. I think that'd be super neat. Lastly, guys, I just wanted to mention iOS 10.3. The first beta is likely to release on Tuesday, according to Sunny Dixon. So I can't wait to see if that prediction is true. Hopefully we're receiving a dark mode here very, very soon. And the very last thing I wanted to say is I got my iPhone. Now I'm actually planning on getting this thing x-rayed. A lot of people have asked me, how am I going to know if it's genuine? Obviously I'm not going to open it, but I can tell this is a genuine Apple seal. It hasn't been resealed as far as I know, but just to be sure, my friend is going to be x-raying this thing for me to see if the iPhone is inside, if it's been altered in any way. Otherwise, we will be returning it. But yeah, I think I got a bargain. These things seriously go for 10 to 20K on eBay. And as long as I hold on to it for a few years, there's no way I will lose money. And there it is. That is a ton of news for the last week only. That's amazing. I'm really looking forward to iOS 10.3, so stay tuned for that. Peace.